Today, we're jumping right into, well, a really intense human moment, a crisis point. Picture this. Huge battlefield, armies facing off, and right in the middle, a legendary warrior just about to enter this massive fight, but then something gives inside him. It's this incredible struggle that stops him in his tracks before anything even starts. We're using excerpts from Arjuna's despair, a warrior's reluctance as our guide today. And our mission really is to feel what he's feeling, to unpack that raw, almost physical reluctance when faced with an impossible choice. We'll look closely at how the verses describe his body reacting, his mind reeling, really get into the details.
Yeah, and it's so important to understand this isn't just some old story. Arjuna's struggle, it speaks to something universal, doesn't it? Duty, morality, the sheer human cost of conflict. We all face versions of this. And the text is amazing because it doesn't just say he felt bad. It details the breakdown, physically, mentally. It's quite remarkable, almost clinical.
Okay, let's get right into it then. That first moment, he's arrived. He's asked Krishna to place his chariot right between the armies so he can see who he's up against. And then he sees them and bam, instant reaction. It's right here in verse 28. The translation goes, Arjuna said, O Krishna, seeing my own kinsmen assembled here, eager to fight, my limbs fail and my mouth becomes dry. Wow. Okay, so notice the specifics. My own kinsmen, not just enemies, family, teachers, friends, people he knows, loves even. And the reaction isn't like, let me ponder the ethics. No, it's physical, immediate. Limbs fail, mouth becomes dry. His body is just shutting down.
Exactly. And that's what's so striking, isn't it? That immediate physiological thing that happens. It's not reason kicking in yet. It's shock, a kind of primal, deep shock. That failure of the limbs, the dry mouth, I mean, that's not just feeling a bit off. It points to a massive systemic reaction. Psychological distress hitting the body hard. It really shows how our bodies often scream warning before our brains fully process the situation. Think about it for you listening. Maybe you get shocking news and suddenly you feel cold or your heart pounds or, your mouth goes dry before you've even formed the thought. Arjuna's experience is like that, but amplified massively. Our identity, our connections, they're wired deep into our physical responses.
That's a great point. The body's alarm system going off before the conscious mind really engages. And what's really gripping is how it doesn't just stop there. Those first symptoms, they snowball, don't they? It makes you think how fast a crisis like this can overwhelm someone physically.
Oh, absolutely. It's universally human, I think. But the scale here is immense because of who he is and what he's facing. It's not just danger. It's the wrong kind of danger. Fighting his own family, his elders, that specific conflict. His duty as a warrior versus, his duty to kin pushes his body's reaction to an extreme. It sort of shows how our ethical core, our physical selves are just completely intertwined, violate those core values, and the body can revolt.
A revolt. Yeah, that feels like the right word. And it definitely escalates. Moving to verse 29, it gets even more dramatic. The physical breakdown intensifies. It reads, my whole body trembles, my hair stands on end, my Bhagavad slips from my hand, and my skin burns all over. So, okay, look at that progression. From dry mouth to whole body trembling, hair standing on end, that's pure visceral fear, like an animal reaction. Skin burns all over, like a fever maybe. Intense internal agitation. But then, that detail. My Bhagavad slips from my hand. Now, this isn't just any bow. God is like the bow. Legendary, divine gift. It's part of his identity, the symbol of his skill, his duty. For that to slip from his grasp, that's huge. It signals something much deeper than just physical weakness. It's like he's letting go of who he is.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And if we look at the bigger picture here, the Garcha slipping isn't just, clumsiness. It's a powerful, potent symbol. His resolve is failing, yes, but it's also like he's unconsciously, or maybe consciously, abandoning his fundamental role, his purpose. Here's this ultimate warrior, literally unable to hold the tool of his trade, the very means by which he fulfills his duty, his dharma. The takeaway is profound, I think. It's suggesting that our deepest moral crises can literally disarm us. They can make us unable to hold on to the very things that define our purpose. It's his body and soul rejecting the path ahead, rejecting the fight against his own people. It's a rejection of his warrior self in that moment.
So you could argue, maybe someone would say, well, a warrior like him should be stronger mentally, right? That dropping the bow is weakness. But you're saying it's less about lack of courage and more like an ethical system overload, his very being rejecting the command.
Exactly that. It's not weakness in the way we usually think of it, like cowardice. It's a conflict so profound, his core values are smashing against each other. His warrior dharma says fight. His family dharma says protect. They collide violently, and the system, his whole being, just shorts out. The body refusing to hold the God Shiva is like a physical manifestation of that deep soul-level rejection. It's actually an incredible insight, showing how even the strongest among us can be utterly stopped by moral choices that cut to the core of who they are.
Okay, so physically, he's overwhelmed. It's escalating. What's happening in his mind through all this? It sounds like total chaos. Which brings us to verse 30. Here he actually describes that mental turmoil, and interestingly, he starts looking outside himself, doesn't he, for validation. The translation is, I am unable to stand steady, my mind seems to reel, and I see only adverse omens, Okashafa, Krishna. Okashuba. You can feel the breakdown here. Unable to stand steady, that echoes the physical failing, but it's also about composure, presence. He can't even hold himself together. And then my mind seems to reel, not just doubt, but disorientation, vertigo. Like his internal compass is just spinning. And that last part is so telling. I see only adverse omens. He's projecting his internal state onto the world, looking for external signs to justify his feeling of dread. And he turns to Krishna almost pleadingly.
Yeah, this verse really paints a picture of complete mental and emotional paralysis. The conflict inside has just consumed his ability to function. That reeling mind, it's a loss of clarity, a loss of purpose. His rationality is offline. And the adverse omens, that's classic. His mind is so desperate for an out, for a reason not to fight, that it starts interpreting everything negatively. It's looking for external justification. It shows powerfully how our internal state, our fears, our anxieties, can completely warp our perception of reality. We start seeing things that confirm our dread. It's a really almost unsettling look at how these huge moral dilemmas can just shatter our sense of stability, our objectivity. We see what our fear wants us to see.
That's so true, isn't it? When we're deeply conflicted about something big, how often do we suddenly start noticing all the bad signs? Like we're subconsciously looking for confirmation not to do it.
Oh, completely. It's a well-known cognitive bias, but this is it amplified by extreme stress. Our brains look for patterns, right? And when we're deeply anxious or torn, we find patterns that match that feeling. Patterns that support avoiding the difficult thing. So Arjuna's mind isn't just reeling passively, it's actively searching for and finding external proof for his internal horror. The outside world becomes a mirror of his inner chaos. It really drives home how perception isn't just receiving information, it's actively shaped by what's going on inside us.
What a progression. We've really traced Arjuna's despair from that first shock, the dry mouth, the weak limbs all triggered by seeing his family across the battlefield, then the trembling, the hair standing on end, the skin burning, and that incredibly symbolic moment where Agacheva slips from his hand. And finally, the mental collapse, the reeling mind, the inability to stand steady, seeing only bad omens. It's such a detailed, visceral account of profound internal conflict.
It really is. And Arjuna's experience, laid out so vividly here, is just this powerful reminder of how deeply connected our physical selves are to our emotions, our ethics. His body is literally acting out his soul's crisis, which happens to us too, maybe less dramatically, but our bodies often carry the weight of our moral struggles. So maybe a question for you listening is this. What are the tools, the roles, the identities that tend to slip from your hands when you face a really tough decision? One that challenges your core values? How does your body, your mind, react when confronted with something you deeply, fundamentally resist? And maybe even how aware are you when your perception might be getting colored by that internal conflict, making you see those adverse omens?
Really powerful things to think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Arjuna's despair. We hope you continue exploring these timeless questions. They really do get to the heart of being human. Until next time, keep diving deep.